Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a billing report that's underutilized by so many practices, Notice Processor. In fact, most of the practices that we bring on have never used this report. Some use it to create letters, and certainly that's one of the functions of Notice Processor that's great, but it is so much more than just a letter generator. It can be used to pull all sorts of data from your e-MDs database, which can not only provide better patient care, but increase practice revenue. Let's get started. Inside Bill, you go to the top of the screen, select Reports, and go about 2/3 of the way down until you get to Notice Processor. Here we see the Notice Processor window, and we see a letter. Up in the left corner here, there's a letter description which allows you to have various letters that are either already created or created by someone to take on different tasks, such as collections agencies, or let's say you're going to move to a new practice, and so forth. But that's not what we're typically interested in for today. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Right now we want to look at how we can pull data from the system for practically anything from a patient's age to a drug they might be on. So we're going to hit the letter preview tab, and once we hit the letter preview tab, it will allow us to set some filters. So here you'll see in the upper left hand part of the screen the word filters, which actually says, okay, we can do anything that we want to in the system. We can select patients with names A, last name A through J. We can select the patients who are all male or female. We can look at patients with a certain date of birth, a certain age, when their first visit at the practice was. We can look by a certain provider. We can look by insurance company, all of our Blue Crosses. We can look at financial group. We can check out account balances. All sorts of data within the system that we can look at. Everything from date range, recall dates. But for this example, let's say that a drug company has convinced us, a pharmaceutical rep stopped by and convinced us to write a different prescription for the practice. So let's say that they've encouraged us to switch from Catawet to their newest drug that's out there for hyperlipidemia. So what we can do is we can go over here to the left-hand side, and instead of looking up invoices, which would be effective to look up ICD-10s with mixed hyperlipidemia or what have you, we can simply come down here to the prescription section. So in the prescription section, we can uncheck this NA box, and then we'll see 4 different filters. Patients currently on the med, patients on the med during a certain date range, which you can select here at the right, past medications, or current and past medications. We're going to go ahead and select current and past medications because we want to make sure that it captures everyone who has been in the system that's used that specific drug. So in this particular case, we're going to be talking about Catawet. So I'm simply going to come over to the right and hit on the Find button and then type in Catawet. Hit enter, and there's the drug. I'll select it. And now the only thing in the filters, we haven't touched age or anything else. The only thing in the filters that we have said is we want all of our patients who are on or who have been on Catawet. Haven't touched our age range, financial groups, or anything else like that. Just Catawet. So once we understand that that's where our filters are set, we can come back up here to the select button. It will take 2 seconds or 20 seconds depending on how many patients are in the system, and you can see that it's pulled in a patient. Well, it's pulled in a patient using the collections only letter, but we're not interested in the letter part of the situation. We'll get to that later. We're looking at the list. We want to see who is available in the list of people that have been selected from the data that we've asked it to extract. So we're going to click on the Preview List button. We'll click on the Maximize button and then the Center button, which will maximize that list. And here you'll see that we have 3 patients that are on that particular drug. This is an interactive page. A lot of folks don't understand this with e-MDs. They think they just print this page and go on, but actually you can use this preview screen in real time. So if you want to look at a patient's demographic information, you just double click on their name, and that will take you to their demographic screen. And then you can change out anything from their insurance information if they've got a new insurance set or whatever happens to be. Obviously, this is phased out right now because of for HIPAA compliance reasons. But this is an active document when you hit that preview button from inside Notice Processor, and so we can use anything we need to change the demographic information there. So we can also look at the account balances that are there, city, state addresses, all that kind of good stuff. It's all found within this particular document. So a really, really cool piece of Notice Processor is that preview screen. So we can actually print from here, or we can use this screen in real time to be able to change anything inside the patient's demographics that we need to go to the chart, obviously, from the demographic screen and so forth. So that is the main function that I wanted to talk about today, and you can see all of the different practical applications that would be found in using this particular tool. If you wanted to have a Coumadin clinic, an asthma clinic, if you wanted to see all of your patients with hyperlipidemia, if you wanted to make sure that all of your male patients are coming in a timely fashion for their PSAs and so forth, you'd be able to run all of those kinds of things through this list. Again, you would look at the different invoices. You could set the filters up to look at a specific diagnosis or diagnoses, depending on, as the case may be. You can run that by ICD-9 or ICD-10 code. The possibilities are pretty much endless in terms of what this report can do. So what we'd like to do now is kind of show you how the letter portion works. So you've already got letters in your system by default, but if you wanted to create a new one, you'd simply go up to the top and hit New Letter. I'm going to put Test here and hit Save. And so when I scroll down to the bottom, I'll see my new test. And it will generate a letter that starts with basically nothing. Dear, and then brackets, patient title, brackets, patient last name. The brackets will auto-populate any data that you have from the preview screen that we already showed you earlier during the talk. And so to add other things, you might not want to start your letter with Dear such and such. You probably want to start your letter with the practice's name and address. So you can simply click in front here, hit enter a couple of times, and then come back down and then select from the fields here on the left. So we'll select facility name as our first one. You'll just double click on it, it auto populates. Hit enter again, and go up to your facility address line, hit enter again, and you'll select the facility city and state line. So that will put your facility's information in the system, and then you've got your patient's title there, Mr. or Ms., patient's last name, and then whatever you want to put in there for a regular letter. So at this point, it's just like typing in Microsoft Word or any other type of word processing application. You'll see lots of typos here for me as I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. So we want to let you know that we have a new facility opening in, let's say, downtown Las Vegas. So, or whatever it is that you want to put there. Your practice is moving. You want to send out birthday wishes to someone. You want to introduce a new provider to the practice. Lots of different options here that you can use. So we'll go to the letter preview function again, and we will just set up some parameters here so we can show you how it would auto-populate into the system. So we will hit our letter preview, and we'll come in and we'll select patients from... Let's just select TRICARE. TRICARE is popular but not overly popular in terms of the number of patients we've got in this practice. And again, we're not going to change anything else. We could, but we're not going to. We're going to hit select, and it will take, again, between 2 and 20 seconds depending on how much data is there. So here at the top, again, we've phased out things, but you can see we've got the practice's name there, address, and then we've got Dear or Mrs. whomever she happens to be with the information we've got in the letter. And so from this point, now that we've got a nice letter that's already been taken care of in terms of proofreading and all of our spell checking and things like that I've taken a look at, we can come up to print. And from here, we've got 3 options. We can print mailing labels using Avery mailing labels, or we can print the letters themselves to be mailed, or we can print the patient list again. We had the preview, which allowed us to preview the list earlier, but now we can print the patient list if we so desire. So we've got a lot of different options there, and the only way that it will print is if you check them. So if you just want to print labels, you check the labels, and it will print those out. Or if you just want to print the letters, you can hit the check mark beside letters and print them out. We'll preview the list just to kind of let you see that again. Again, we're going to maximize it, hit our middle window. We're going to hit the final button, and that will take us to the last page, which shows us that there are 230 patients that are in that particular category that we selected based upon the filters. Again, the filters can be as specific as you want or as broad as you want. So if you want all of your patients that are 75 and older who are on Medicare, it will produce that information. If you want to have all of the folks that I've seen in the last 90 days for hypertension. You can pull out that information. And again, we're just trying to use this Notice processor to be able to pull data if we need to be able to see patients that are based upon that data, or if we want to start a new particular line of products or a line of services, we can use the patient data in here to pull that quite easily instead of going patient by patient. We hope you enjoyed this video and have some practical advice to take back to your offices. For more e-MDs tips and tricks, as well as other billing advice, please visit our website at www.mysolor.com. As a third-party provider of billing services that only serves e-MDs practices, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks for watching and have a great day.